All right. Yep. I think it's showing me. Yep. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Jazakallah khair. Okay, good, good. All right, thank you. All right. All right, you man? We're live right now. Hi, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Cooking with Josiah. I'm Josiah. This is Chef Adam, and this is Chef Ayub. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be going over hopefully 3 different dishes, inshallah. First of all, we want to talk about intentions for while before we're cooking. Most people are fasting, and when we're fasting, we're not going to be just eating just for the sake of eating. We want to be eating for the sake of Allah. That means eating nutritious meals and eating to sustain our body to worship Allah and worship Him more during this blessed month. So, nutritious meals is one thing, but also cooking with kids is another thing. We're going to be cooking some things that the kids like this first time, and we're going to cook some things that they're used to. We're going to start off with talking about cooking and some of its benefits. One of the things that we're going to be cooking is something from Somalia. It's called enjero. It might be pronounced enjero in different Somali areas, but nonetheless, it's a traditional flatbread. It's cooked for breakfast, and it's very simple, something that a lot of Somalis know, and something that you can cook. A lot of times you'll cook it the night before. They say when you're cooking, you'll hear the night before in Somalia, all the people cooking the enjero, the people whisking the enjero, getting it ready for the morning before. It's a sourdough recipe, so it involves yeast, and it involves some time in development, okay? So some of the benefits that we have for cooking is teaching kids heritage, okay? This is a benefit that I believe is very important, especially living here. We want to talk about where we come from, being proud of our heritage, being proud of where we come from. And one of the things, it shows us self-respect. So cooking is a great opportunity. Wherever you go, you're going to meet people from different cultures. And a lot of times bringing people together is food. So bringing people together with food is something that everybody can share. Like I might share some German recipe or an American recipe or a Somali recipe, not a Somali recipe, but the kids might be sharing a Somali recipe, or my wife might be sharing a Somali recipe. Or you meet somebody and he's Italian, or you meet somebody in their Desi, you meet somebody that they're a different culture. And something that you can do that unites us is food. So it's a great way of social interaction. Besides teaching the kids this heritage, I also teach quality time, family togetherness. It's something everybody can do. It's not limited to just those that are older or those that are younger. For the most part, all kids can have some connection, some job that they're able to do. And that's one of the things that you want to stress is giving the kids something that they're able to do, not overwhelm them, not making them in charge of cooking, not getting them in charge of cutting things with knives. You want to talk about safety. You want to keep knives away from kids. You want to make sure that they're cooking safely. That's another thing that is a teaching lesson. So another benefit to me is cooking is delayed gratification. When you're making a meal, you're seeing where it comes from. You're looking at all the ingredients. We have just a lot of different. We'll be making pizza today, and so we have different, different recipes, and we have different ingredients. And seeing that, hey, it takes time, it takes work, it takes effort to make something. It's not just like that, and we get something. No, you have to prepare. You have to get everything ready. You have to go to this. You have to go and buy stuff. You can't. It's easy just to order Domino's or order some pizza, and that's fine. But it doesn't taste as well, and this teaches delayed gratification. It's also important knowing where this food comes from. We're going to be talking about pizza sauce, how to make pizza sauce. We're going to talk about different cheeses, different ingredients, different plants like basil, like oregano, tomatoes, and then also the dough and how to put that together. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to make is Angelo. Now, I already prepared this the night before. You're going to want to use, and the recipe is on below, and everybody has a little different recipe. The gist of it is 4.5 cups of a solid flour. You might use different types of flour, whole wheat flour, white flour, all-purpose flour, and sometimes like a corn flour. There's different flours and different solids that you can use. I use 2 cups of a white flour, an all-purpose flour. I'll use 1 cup of wheat flour, and then I'll use 1 cup of cornmeal, okay? And so you mix those ingredients together. And the first thing, actually, before that, you got to start your yeast mixture. So yeast, you can use, sometimes it comes in a packet that's about like 2¼ teaspoons, and sometimes it comes in a larger container. I like using the larger container and just measuring it myself. So you want to put the yeast in just like a regular bowl like this, and then you want to put a little bit of sugar, like 1 tablespoon, and you put it in the bowl, and you put warm water, not hot water, warm water, 100, 115 degrees. You put that together, and that's called proofing, okay? When you're making bread, when you're making Angelo, it's the same thing. It's proofing that yeast. Yeast is something that's alive, and you're kind of waking it up from sleep. So you put those ingredients in the bowl, you stir it together with a whisk, just gently, and you let it sit for 10 minutes or so, okay? After the 10 minutes are up, you put it together. You can add your water and your flour, okay? So you add your water and your flour. For me, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of whole wheat flour, and 1 cup of cornmeal. So you put that all together the night before, and then, again, this is a breakfast dish. Now, kids, you like Angelo?
Yes.
Yes. They love Angelo. They also like something called maloa. We've been eating a lot of maloa recently. It's delicious, but it's not sourdough. So it's a similar flatbread, but you take the yeast out of it. Cooking is a little bit different. Nonetheless, it's very good. There's a little bit of, I think it's more eggs. So before you're gonna make the Angelo, it should look like this. So you put it the night before. You guys can undo that. You cover it with saran wrap, and it should bubble, okay? Now, it should have a nice froth. I don't know if you can see that. It should have a nice froth to it. That's where you know that the yeast is working, okay? And that's going to help it become really airy. And so before you cook the Angelo, we'll set this aside. So this is done. We're going to cook this after we make the pizza, or while we put the pizza in the oven, if we have time. All right, so we're going to set this aside. This is all done. I'm going to put this off to the side. That's ready to make. And then now, the pizza. So with the Angelo and the yeast, something similar is with the pizza. You're going to be proofing it in the same manner, okay? So you put 2 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. You put sometimes 1/3 of a cup of water, or you can put all the water. You put a little bit of the water, warm water beforehand. You put that in a bowl. You add the sugar, and you mix it together. Let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes. That's called proofing. After you do that, and again, we did this all beforehand because there is time that you need to let the dough sit and get bigger and double in size, and we'll show you the end result. So after it's proofed, you add the flour, and you add the water, and you add the salt, and you form it into the ball. Now, Chef Adam and I did this earlier, right, Adam? What did we do? What did we do with the dough? Did we put it on the table?
Yeah.
Okay. And what did we do? We made it into a big ball. We stirred it in a bowl like this, and we turned it all together, and I had a big lump of dough, right? And then what do? No, I used a wooden spoon.
You put it in the
Yeah.
in the bowls.
Yeah.
And
we took it out of the bowl. We put it on the table, and what do we do? What do we first do with the table? What do we put on there?
flour.
Flour. We put flour on there. Okay. So what do you remember what it was called when we put the flour on there and we took the dough and we put on the flour? What was that called? Remember what it called? I don't. It was called kneading. Okay. So we're gonna do something similar. So you just get some flour because we're gonna be rolling the pizza dough out. Get some flour. Yep. Good. Wait. Yeah. All right. So we did this before with kneading. Don't push on that animal. All right. And then a little bit more of you. And then just dump it on the table. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Good. Good. So you take some flour before you're gonna. So this is what we did when we were kneading. Yeah. Get our hands. And of course, you wash your hands before you're cooking. Always wash your hands before you're cooking. All right. We did that already. All right. So we've spread this out. Now, before we. Okay, that's good. That's good. It's also fun. Cooking's fun. So getting dirty. Okay. All right. Getting dirty is fine to a certain extent. You don't want it all over. That's fine. We're not making any giant pizza. We're making a normal size pizza. All right. So we had our dough. We kneaded it. We kneaded it for how many minutes, Adam, did we knead it for? Remember we set the timer?
Yeah.
How many minutes did we knead it for?
I don't know.
5 minutes. We kneaded it for 5 minutes. That's fine, guys. Okay? So we kneaded it for 5 minutes. That's taking the dough, turning it over, and pushing down. Flipping over and pushing down. And working with your hands, you knead it for 5 minutes. Right, Adam? Didn't I show you how to do that? We put it in our hands, we grab the dough, turn it over, and push on it, knead it in. All right? So we do that for 5 minutes. Then we take that dough, and we get a pan similar to this bowl, this size. And the recipe that I have makes 2 1-pound loaves. Now, 1 pound of dough will be good enough for 2 large pizzas. And so I think the rest, like you can see the recipe, and it calls for like 3 1/4 cup of flour, 1 1/3 cup of water, oil, and salt. So the ingredients are going to be really basic: flour, oil, salt, and water. Okay. Now I use whole wheat flour as well. I usually do some all-purpose flour, some whole wheat flour. Bread flour is sometimes ideal. You're going to get different consistencies with different types of flour, but you can just make something basic, okay? And use all-purpose flour. It will work. So in the end, you let it sit for 1.5 hours. We made this at an hour and a half ago, and you can see it has doubled in size. All right, it's nice and airy. We have 2 of them because we're making 2 pizzas. And so it's doubled in size. We take this out.
We're going to be eating it.
And we're going to punch it down.
Yeah.
Okay, just gently. Doesn't need to be crazy. You punch it down. There you go, punch it down. And it should, you can see when you put a finger into it, it should stay in position. That is done. So that is done. It's nice and stretchy. That means that the gluten has developed. The pizza dough is nice and stretchy. That's the yeast working. All right, so we're going to take this together, form it back in a big, nice ball. Okay, and we're going to roll it out. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, flour your flouring. Yeah, put some flour on there. All right, now. You also, I forgot, you coat the inside of the pan with olive oil, and then you coat the outside as well with some olive oil. All right? All right. No, let me just get it a second. I'm going to just knead a little bit with some water, some flour, and we're going to get it into a nice round ball. There we go. And it should be, I'm going to spread it out just a little bit before we roll. Here, you can move it. You can do it. That's all. We're kind of just bringing it out and going to be flattening it. All right. So we're gonna stretch it out. You can do it. You can try tossing it. I don't really toss it. I'm not a professional pizza maker, but you can stretch it out with your hand. But I prefer just using a rolling pin. Let me start doing it. You want to try it? Okay. Okay, we're just gonna roll it in one way, and you're gonna roll it the other way. Yeah. There you go. And while you're rolling it out, beforehand you can preheat your oven to 450, because once we add, you have to put the flour on there. No. And then once you put the toppings on, you're gonna pop it right into the oven. So you can preheat your oven for 450, and then also grease a pan. You don't need to flour it. Yeah. All right. So this is a little bit not kid friendly because you're going to be pushing down, and I mean the shape of your bread doesn't have to be perfect. I like it to fit the pan itself, so rounder is better. Okay. All right. How about square? Yes, square. You can do square. Now, kids, when you cut pizza, do you cut them in squares or slices?
Slices.
Slices?
Or squares.
Or squares. So in Milwaukee, part of Milwaukee culture and pizza culture is square pizza. Not square pizza, square slices, I should say. Not square pizza. Square pizza, I think, is in Detroit, but square slices. So Milwaukee, the culture of Milwaukee is square slices. So if you want to make Milwaukee style pizza, and it's also Milwaukee style, is a thinner crust. I prefer a thicker crust, but you're gonna do the toppings, okay? All right. So you don't need any more flour.
Oh,
yeah.
Flour.
Like I said, it's fun. It's fun, and that's the thing. It's fun to get your hands dirty, to work with your ingredients. It's a good time. So you want to get me the pizza pan? So you roll this out. Like I said, you can pick it up. You can twirl it. You can make it, this will elongate it. It'll make it bigger. Here, watch out. You just set that off to the side. You don't want it too thin. That's good. So you're just stretching it out so it's bigger. Okay, that's all that is doing.
Okay, now put it on the pizza pan.
Now put it on the pizza pan, he says. All right, let's just get this all flat. And we have already a pan. Now I prefer also, this is a pan that we have. There are lots of different types of pans. This one's not the best, but you can do pizza stones. I've seen cast iron pans. This will get the job done. But if you make a lot of pizza, you can really go all out. All right, let's put this on there. You want to put it on? Well, actually, this I'll do. You guys put underneath. All right, place it onto the pan. Stretch it out.
And now put on the pizza topping.
Yeah, now put the pizza toppings on. You want to make a crust? So I'm just rolling the crust up a little bit. It doesn't need to be perfect. Oh, yeah, Adam, come over here. I'll get it. I'll get the sauce. Okay, so you just roll it. Oh, yeah, if there's larger parts, put them off to the side. Stretch them out. Oh, don't rip it, though. You don't want to rip it. You don't want to rip it because that's just not going to come back. It's stretchy for a reason. So you don't want to rip them. You can just move it around. It can be abnormally shaped. That's not a problem. Every pizza is unique. All right, what you can also do, can you grab me a fork, Adam? You can put fork, like just points in the pizza. You want to put points throughout, not all in one spot. So you just stab it a little bit. Good. And this helps in not allowing it to bubble up. So this is good. We've got one more to go, so let's get this going. Good. Over here. Good. All throughout. All right. Now, we're going to do pizza dough. Now, for your sauce, my preference, the best sauce is homemade. Okay, I know it's difficult sometimes, but it's not. You know, like what I usually get is is homemade tomatoes. Okay, now with summer coming up, perfect opportunity to get homemade tomatoes growing in your garden. We've got some plants started. We have
tomato plants.
We have some tomato plants, and then last year we did some canning. And this is what I love to use is homemade is canned tomatoes. It's real simple. You just can them. There's certain ways of doing that, but taking the can and you put it just in a blender. We're not going to do it this time. I already have it made. So you put it in the blender, and then you can add whatever you like. I like something just simple. So tomatoes, basil. You can do fresh basil is good. You can do basil, and then I usually put in oregano, and then salt and pepper. Salt you got to be careful with if you're using tomato sauce, but the regular canned tomatoes doesn't have any salt in it, so you want to add some salt to it. So again, salt, pepper, oregano, basil. That's going to be your basics. Adding lemon juice, dependent on if your tomato is tart or not tart. We have a cover on it. He didn't just pick up the knife. He had a cover on it. But we don't want to play with knives. So what was I saying? So the tomato sauce, you add salt to it, you blend it up, you cook it to reduce it down to get it a good thick consistency. All right, so we already have that. Also, what I if you buy just canned sauce, I usually get if you get a canned sauce, I add a little bit of salt and pepper to it just to give it a little kick. This is just like a tandoori paste, so it adds a little bit of spice, it adds a little bit more salt, and it also adds like a little red coloring to it, which is good. It makes it look nicer, I think. All right, so we'll just get that stirred. And then you can put some tomato sauce on the pizza. You can, yeah, there you go. Put some more. There you go. And one more. Good. All right, we got to hurry up on this. So the oven, is it preheated? Yeah, preheated. Okay. So we're gonna do this. Spread it out. If you like more sauce, put more sauce. If you don't, then put less. I like
more.
You like more?
Okay. I like a good and decent amount.
Good amount of sauce. Again, when you cook the tomatoes, you're just reducing it down. The canning process already cooks the tomatoes, but you want to reduce it down a little bit. And reducing means taking some of the moisture out, some of the water. So you're gonna do your pizza dough, spread it all nicely. Now you can add them over here. Add them over here. Okay, so first you add them. Okay.
You want to first add the cheese.
The cheese. So the cheese.
Ooh,
you can do the cheese. You can bring the cheese.
And I do the pepperoni.
And you can do the pepperoni. Usually you don't do pepperoni, but this is an all beef pepperoni, of course. I prefer all beef versus turkey pepperoni, and it's easier to find, I think, an all beef halal pepperoni than it is. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I look at I like an all beef pepperoni. So cheese, again, it's dependent on what you like. I like lots of cheese.
Lots. No. Lots of cheese.
All right, let's hurry this up.
No, you.
There you go. Okay, Adam, you can put some. There we go. There we go. Cheese. Okay, now let's put some pepperoni. We'll do all the pepperoni. Let's do some pepperoni. Put them on there. Space them out. I like pepperoni too, is that the kids can do it. If you have a 4-year-old at home, they can easily put pepperoni. They can put it on, and it's not a problem. Taste one. Oh, no, you can't eat one. You're fasting.
Oh, the Sadducon is.
That's a good point. no matter how delicious it is, you always got to be careful not to eat because you're fasting. All right, that looks good. All right, so that one's done. Where's the rest of it? Did you use all the pepperoni? Oh, nice. We just used up all the pepperoni. Good. No, you can put a little oregano. Yeah, he was asking if you put a little oregano on top. Sure, why not? Put a little oregano. Put a little oregano on top. There we go. That's good. All right, you could put some fresh basil. And nope, that's for the second pizza, Adam.
Aww.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna put this in the oven. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's for the second pizza. Let's go. That's good. All right, let's put this in the oven. All right. Here, who wants to take it to the oven? You want to take it? Okay. All right, let's go to the oven. Actually, we'll just have it go in the oven, and we'll just do the next one. Next one we're gonna do is in square. So you're just gonna put that in the oven, and the next one we're gonna do is a square. The second pizza, like I said, you can do different. Yeah, you can take it out, but don't move it around. Just press it down, and then here, yeah, press it down. Don't break it apart. Okay, so punch it down. Yeah, there you go. So you can do lots of different styles of pizza. You don't have to do cheese and pepperoni. You don't have to do just cheese. You don't have to fold it. Don't fold it. Just keep it in a ball. Yep. Keep it in a ball. Just keep it in. Yeah. Keep it in a ball. Yeah. Yeah. So you don't have to. Sorry, this is. Stretch it out nice. You want to keep it in the ball. You don't want to. Yeah. All right. So the second one that we're going to make is Basil Pesto, and we're going to do it in a square. So we're going to form this in a square. And the second one we're going to do is with basil and fresh mozzarella.
We don't have a next one.
We don't have a next one?
No.
Why don't we have a next one? Here's one right here.
I need to go wash my hands.
No, you don't have to.
How about mine?
Yeah, we're gonna make this into a square. Nice. And that last pizza is in there for 15 minutes. So we got this roll out in a square.
There, now we can put it in the pizza pan.
And we're going to put it in the pan. Who else got the pan? Adam, you got the pan?
No, the pan's right here.
Okay.
We need
Hold
more
the pan.
cheese.
No, we're going to be using that cheese, Adam. And we're going to put tomatoes on this too.
Yes.
All right, so this again, it's nice and stretchy. Put it underneath. Yeah, there we go. Hold on. It's very stretchy. Okay, put it underneath. There we go. Wait. No, just wait till we form it, Adam.
Okay.
All right. What does it smell? How does it smell? Good? All right. And it doesn't have to, this one doesn't look the prettiest. I prefer the round one. It's easier to roll out. Square is good if you're going to have like a thicker sauce, more cheese. You can do a deep dish this way. Like I said, I prefer, no, hold on, we're going to do the pesto first.
Pesto.
And then we're going to need the cutting board. And then we're going to need some basils. Adam, you want to pick the basil off?
What's the basil?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or get a scissors. We'll get a scissors.
oh
And cut the
no,
basil.
I'm gonna just. No, we're gonna
No,
get
just
the
get a
scissors.
scissors. Yeah. Okay, so we have it rolled out. Doesn't look the greatest, but it'll do the trick. Kids will like it. That's all that matters. All right. So Adam's gonna cut. Now, when you cut, usually on your basil, you're not gonna cut the actual leaf. You're gonna cut, ideally in the summer. Hold on, Adam. Hold on. No, you don't want to cut the whole stem off. In the summer, you're gonna have smaller. Okay, cut it right. Not there, not there, not there. Right here, right here, right here. Yep, underneath. Yep, there. Good. Okay, put that there, and then cut. You want to cut where the small leaves are growing. So you want to cut right above the small leaves. That's no. Above it. Oh, above it. No. Okay. Let me just here. Above the small leaves. Again, this is an indoor plant. In the summer, it's bigger, so it's easier to trim the basil. You're not gonna risk killing it off. You're gonna have bigger leaves, but we've been growing this indoors, so it doesn't. Hold on, Adam. Adam, move off to the side. That's not how we cut basil, though. That's not how we cut it. You're cutting basil. No, I'll be cutting the basil. Knives are not meant for kids.
Okay. I'm gonna put this on, okay?
All right, you guys can spread out the pesto. Spread it all out there. I'll be cutting the basil. You're gonna do. I think it's called a chiffonade. Chiffonade. With the basil.
No, that's good. That's good.
No, it's not good. It's not good. You have the pesto.
I know. We're so hungry.
Yeah, just as like this on the.
Look it.
So you're gonna take your knife. You roll the basil up. You roll it kind of like in a ball, like this. Usually you're gonna have a bigger leaves. You're gonna roll it a little bit, and you're gonna slice it. You want to make sure you're using a sharp knife. Bruising the basil does that's a little much. Spread it out. Yeah, spread it out. All right. So you don't want to bruise the basil. You want to cut through the basil, and make small slices. Cut through the basil in small slices. Again, this is not something for the kids to do. An important thing about cooking is safety. You can talk about, safety and cooking with heat, cooking and knives.
Okay.
You can do that. Yeah, you can make it into smaller areas. All right, that looks good, Ayub. Now you can put either the cheese. I mean, some people we're going to put tomatoes on, but we're going to do the cheese first. So let's do the cheese and then so you can do some of that. Spread it over the whole thing. Adam, and then you can put some of the clumps of that cheese on. Yep, put some of that cheese on here. You don't have to break it up like that.
Okay.
Yep, just small clumps. There you go. That's okay. There you go. There you go. Small clumps. There you go. Spread it out. Good. No. We don't throw it there. Okay. We gotta spread it out though. To make sure. Is that enough cheese?
Yes, enough cheese.
Okay, this is like just a fresh mozzarella. That's good. Okay, we got enough cheese. All right. Now let's put some tomatoes. Let's show them here. This is what it looks like. With the wait. I was gonna show. That's with the fresh mozzarella. You don't need a lot of the regular mozzarella. I like a mixture, fresh mozzarella and regular mozzarella. Then you put that on there like so. And then let's even out with the tomatoes. Not throwing. Okay. And put this around. You can if you want, sure. And then if you want to spread out the basil, here, I'll put the basil on. Ready? So some fresh basil. See, I made the basil, and then just sprinkle that around.
Okay. I can do it.
Is there any more basil? Okay, sprinkle that where I missed.
Okay. Sprinkles.
Okay, and that's done.
No, not done.
Now we're done.
Now we're done.
One more thing.
All right, so then that's good. Okay, so we're gonna put this again into the oven. You can make this, of course, ahead of time. You can make this ahead of time for iftar, and just put it in the fridge, and then put it before iftar, 15 minutes beforehand. That's fine. Oh, you want to put some oregano on there?
Yeah.
Not a lot. No one. Just a little oregano. Yeah, because you don't. No, it's too much. Okay, you don't want a lot of oregano because you have the basil on there, and you don't want to overwhelm the piece. I like basil, and I like the flavor of basil, so I like to keep that not overwhelmed. Okay, so this, you want to take this to the oven, and then we're gonna do. Actually, you want to take it? I'm gonna take the Angero, and then we're gonna bring the camera into the kitchen. I got the Angero. I'm gonna cook that up real quickly for us. All right. So if you want, come with me, and we're gonna need a whisk.
I'll take it.
You got the whisk?
And
Angero?
Yep.
All right, take it with.
And let's go.
Let's go. Go ahead. All right. And
Ready? You're gonna.
Pizza. How much time do we have the pizza left? 6 minutes? Perfect. 6 minutes is perfect time for cooking up some yummy Angero. So we're gonna get this. Oh, let's see here. It's away from the bathroom. I don't want to see what's not in the bathroom. All right. Let's shut this door. All right.
Then you want to whisk.
Okay. We need an egg here.
Where's our chickens?
Where's our chickens? Our chickens are outside. We get our eggs from the chickens, and I'll show you those. But we didn't bring the chickens inside. No chickens in the house. All right. So you're going to need one egg before you make the Angero. So you have your batter. You're going to put you got chicken. You took it from the chicken. All right. So we got our eggs. Voila. We're going to take one of those and put this off the side. And we're gonna crack it. No, these are. I don't want to get any shells in here. There you go.
You want to whisk it.
And you can whisk it. Whisk it good, yeah. We got the pan on. I'm gonna wash my hands. Again, this is Angero. It's a breakfast dish in Somalia. Usually you put like a little bit of sugar on top, butter and sugar. Really healthy for you, but it does give you sustenance throughout the day. And breakfast is an important meal, so you can cook that in for your sahur. And it's very, very good. All right, that's finished. So you whisk that up. That's all whisks. And it should have a liquid consistency. This is what you're looking for, the consistency, okay? There's that drippiness, that's the yeast, so it makes it sticky. When you first put this together, it's going to be smooth like a pancake batter. But after the yeast develops, it's going to be like lumpy like that. It's going to be the yeast is sticking itself together. So that's good, and it should be bubbly. All right. So that's gonna make your Angero nice and somewhat fluffy, a little bit chewy, and the best part is sour. So I'm going to put this off to the side, and then I'm going to get some cooking spray. I use like little olive oil. This is actually canola oil, but I usually use olive oil. And usually you can get a paper towel. I'll show how usually what you do with the olive oil is you get a dish of olive oil, small dish, and then you put a little paper towel. You dip the paper towel in the olive oil, and then you just coat the pan. You don't even need to. This is a non-stick pan, and so this works out well. You want to cook over medium temperature and a good cup, okay? So you put the cup on, and what you do, we don't need that. Just put it off to the side. What you do is you take the cup, you put it onto the pan, and then you're going to swirl it, watch out, around the pan. Well, let me do this. Oh, the pan is a little too hot. You want to swirl it slowly around the pan.
Slowly.
It should have this spiral look to it. If you can see, it should have a spiral look to it. Oh, you can see there. Watch out, this is a hot pan. Okay. Here, you can be over here. You tell me when the Angero is done.
Okay.
Okay, so that takes about, let's get a plate actually ready for it.
Okay.
So while that's cooking, I want to talk a little bit about leftovers. during Ramadan, we want to decrease our waste. Okay, we want to really decrease our waste. So we want to. A lot of times we cook a lot of food and then we don't know what to do with it. So one recipe that I like is and the kids like is a lot of times you might have this bread and it's left over. So whether it's French bread or naan, you can make French toast out of it. You might have it the night before and it gets really hard and you're like, oh, this bread is really hard, I'm going to throw it away. Don't throw it away. You can cook it and you can use it for breakfast. Now with the angelo, the important thing is you're not flipping it. Okay, you just cook it on one side and then you're going to get a spatula. You have a dish for you. And then it'll cook. Sometimes, a lot of times you should cover it. I found that, if you cover it, you don't cover it, you get the same results. So you're going to cook that. I'm only going to cook one of them, and then we're going to do the French toast. So for the naan with the leftovers, a lot of times you might have naan left over. That other important thing, don't eat too much. Sometimes you might think, oh, what am I going to do with leftovers? So you end up eating too much. And you don't want to eat too much during Ramadan. You still want to eat light. Do not overstuff yourself. Remember our intentions. We're eating for the sake of Allah. We're eating to gain nutrition for our bodies so that we can increase our good deeds, so we can worship Allah more. And how are we going to worship Allah more if we're bogged down and we're lazy and we're sleepy and we're tired after we eat? No, we want to eat just enough so that we, in the morning,
get up really early and get to read some Quran.
Right, in the morning, having a productive day, and then at night when we're eating, having a productive night, worshiping Allah at night, and not being lazy, not getting tired from a heavy meal. You want to eat little amounts. So this in general looks done. Oh, and the pizza sounds done.
We will stop that.
When it's done, it should just like this. The bottom might be a little brown. This one isn't, but that should be good. Let's look at the pizza. Pizza looks like it needs to get cooked longer. So this should be at 450 actually. We'll increase the temperature.
And then you want to get some sugar on it.
All right. So for the naan, I'm going to go over a quick, like I said, leftover recipe. We're going to get the naan that we have left over. Okay. We have some naan left over. It's all hard. Look at that. It's all hard. But you know what? The kids love this. So you have to just cut this up. It's all hard. And you can cut it up. Let's cut this up. Just turn this on. Turn this down. What the ingredients that you'll need for the French toast? You want to give me the bowl that's in the other room?
Okay.
Oh, yeah. The ingredients is real simple. Either heavy whipping cream or a full fat. I prefer full fat milk. So like a whole milk. You can do maybe a quarter cup of that. It depends on how many eggs you use. 2 or 3 eggs. It depends on how much naan you have left over, what you're cooking. But you're gonna want to soak it in that egg and milk mixture. So again, it's like, what do we do here?
Milk.
1/3 of a cup of milk. All right. So you put the milk in there, and then we're gonna do 2 eggs, 2 or 3 eggs.
An egg.
Here, you can set this off the side. We can set
2
this.
eggs.
Here, set this off the side. That's that, Joe. And then if you want it cut up with not a sharp knife. You don't need a sharp knife when you're cutting up that naan. You're just gonna break it up. So we're 1 egg. And then 2 eggs. Eggs. All right. And paper towel. Oh, here we go. And then we're going to whisk it. Very important you whisk it. Get the stove on. I turned it off. We'll get the stove on. I like using butter when it comes to French toast. The cooking oil has a higher heat content, so if you're cooking at high heat, you want to use cooking oil. If you're cooking at a lower heat, butter, it gives more flavor, I think, to it. So you have that. Check out pizza. Pizza's almost there. This is on. So a little butter. And then you have your egg mixture, and you put your non-slices, you put that right in the egg mixture. Throw the butter around. And you can soak, let me put those in here.
You want to take it?
Yeah, this is fine. Whisk. You want to soak this naan for a little bit longer than what I'm going to do. You want to soak it for a little bit longer. It makes it a little bit softer, but for the sake of the show, we're going to just, that's good. We're going to mix this up.
With some cinnamon and sugar.
Well, we're not going to mix it up with cinnamon and sugar yet. We're going to mix it up with the eggs. We're just going to get nice and soaked. Okay? Soak that bread. If you're using French bread, soak the French bread. And these are good, like they turn out to be little bites, like little bite size. And I put like some cinnamon and sugar in it, and the kids just love them.
They're amazing.
Yeah. So it's something that the kids love. I mean, it's a way to use up leftovers. That's the main thing. Okay, so you're gonna get it nice and coated. Like I said, the more it sits in here, the softer it gets. The more, but it'll be. This is soft enough. As long as it even coats it, it's fine. So we have our butter ready. So we put I just put it all in once. I just put it all in there. And then I get another dish where I put the cinnamon and sugar in, and then I'll coat it. So time's almost up. We only have 7 minutes. I'm going to see on our pizza again. Oh, that looks good. All right, we're going to get that pizza out. So that took us about, depending on how you like your crust and how you like your pizza, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Ooh, that's hot. That's delicious. Look at that.
Pepperoni
So nice
pizza.
pepperoni pizza. Like I said, Milwaukee style. Watch out, this pan is hot. Milwaukee style. It's in square crust, square slices. Otherwise, it's in your typical slice. You don't want to set this down. You want to make sure you're using safety and using a hot pad down. Set it down. Let it cool for a little bit. Again, safety with kids, especially when cooking at home. You have to be careful. You got a 4-year-old that comes in, ooh, pizza, 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 and it's hot at 400 degrees out of the oven, and they eat right in. They're going to burn themselves. So you have to be really careful with that. All right. So this has been cooking a little bit. I cook at like a medium temperature, and we're just going to flip it. French toast. Oh, if you want to get me that cinnamon sugar. Yeah, okay. Hold on a second. Let me just.
Yeah, just put it in there. Just put this in there when you're done. Right in there.
Not all of it, right?
Where's the bowl that I put?
That's good.
Look.
What's that?
What are some mistakes that people make with coming up? What?
What's it? All right.
Type the answer.
What's the question? What are some common mistakes people make when making the dough? Common mistake for not making the dough. We're making the dough, not letting it sit for an hour and a half. That's one mistake. You're gonna get just different. You're gonna get different consistencies. So there's not really any one mistake. I mean, you're not going to burn your dough. I mean, as long as you keep to the ingredients and the time it takes for the yeast to develop, you can't really go wrong. It's something that you can only perfect. You're gonna have good dough, you're gonna have bad dough, but over time, over experience, you're gonna make it to the way that you like to make it. All right, and it's not necessarily about the end result. It's gonna taste good, but it's about the process. And you're gonna have, it depends. Your dough might be chewy. You might have a flaky crust. You might have I don't know, a cracker crust. It's how you like it, and I prefer it all different way. You like it sticky? Yeah.
No, mine was always sticky.
My dough is always too sticky. Oh, I wonder how sticky. Well, if it's too sticky, you want to add some. You want to add some more flour along the side. Also, you can use cornmeal. Cornmeal will let it not stick to the bottom. This French toast is pretty much done.
Look, there's also this blurry. There always want to go. I know.
So it should end up looking like this: the French toast, non-French toast. All right. So that's eggs is all done.
Look,
You stick this. What's the question?
Decide.
Pillsbury dough is only dough you know. Well, you can use it. That's fine. And that's the thing. You can use Pillsbury dough. You can use any type of dough. You can use you can't use cookie dough. You can't use cookie dough. You can use store-bought dough. That's fine. It's about the process. Again, if you saw like when the kids are making stuff, the kids are helping out. Whether you use a pre-made dough or not, that's fine. What I like also to do is English muffin pizza. You get the English muffin, you make personal English muffin pizza, so everybody can do it how they want to do. If somebody wants pepperoni, if somebody wants tomatoes, if somebody wants black olives, if somebody wants mushrooms, hot peppers, whatever, it kind of is a way to like balance it all out. Hey, this is yours, it's special. This is yours, it's special, and everybody gets their own. So yeah, English muffin pizzas are, I remember as a kid growing up, that was great. Not cookie dough. Yeah, not cookie dough, that's for sure.
Sticky dough with water.
Sticky dough, it also, you're going to have it too, that's too much water. So like I said, you want to add more flour to it. Your dough, you want to make sure it doubles in size. That's the other thing that you're going to have a problem. If your yeast isn't proofed, if you didn't do what I said beforehand, is like give it 10 to 15 minutes in yeast and warm water and sugar, a little bit of sugar, that proofs it, and that activates the yeast and aerates it, and then that activates it, so it starts eating at that flour. That makes it stringy, and when you saw I had it, it was easily, the gluten was developed, it was able to be stretched out, it was perfect. And you'll notice that when you look at your dough and you're like, oh, it hasn't doubled in size, that's a problem. That means your yeast hasn't developed. So your dough is going to be small, it's going to double in size.
And you need to knead it 5 minutes.
And then you want to make sure you knead it for 5 minutes, okay? That's another reason for it to be too sticky. If you're not kneading it properly, when you knead it, you're going to add a little bit of flour to it, okay? You want to get it so it's, the initial dough should not stick to the pan. You should use a wooden spoon, and then it should get all the flour from the sides of the pan, and you should have a nice lump of dough. Then when you place it onto the counter, you put a little flour on top. You knead the flour into it, and then it should be good. All right. So then the French toast, we put it into a bowl. Well, we'll put our sugar in. Cinnamon and sugar. And then French toast. And then we're going to flip it around in the cinnamon and sugar mixture. And it gives a good coating. There you go. That's good. This is something also you want to do right before breakfast, because the sugar, it'll turn into like a syrup more so. I mean, it's fine, but the sugar you want to like just get nice and crunchy on there. So that's what you end up with. Ooh, delicious. All right. That's that. Okay, so it is time. It's 6 o'clock. I've got to run. You can also put some powdered sugar on the French toast. That's fine. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this cooking show. Again, our intentions: cooking for the sake of Allah. We're cooking so that we gain nutrition. Some important parts: family time, spending time together as a family, and also leftovers, watching our leftovers, not cooking too much, eating too much. And then if we did cook too much, using it the next day. There's nothing wrong with that. And share with your neighbors. The next show, I think these chickens have been cooking too many eggs, getting too many eggs. So we're going to be cooking up a nice breakfast dish. I think we're going to be doing a quiche. So we're going to have that recipe up. If you guys want to follow along, that's something you're going to maybe want to get ingredients for, and we're going to do that beforehand. So next week, I think is going to be quiche and something else, maybe some cookies, mom's homemade cookies. So that's about that family time. Very important part in my life is my mother and her teaching cooking to me. Again, it's something where our heritage, things getting passed down from generation to generation. Hopefully Ayub has enjoyed himself and enjoys cooking with me and his mother and his grandmother and his grandfather and all of his relatives. It's that social bond and that connectivity that we have that really makes memories. So I hope you enjoyed. Tune in next week and catch all the other YouTube live videos that Al-Huda is bringing to you. Very productive learning environment. So thank you once again, and salam alaikum.
Where do you?
End stream.